Alright guys, we have a very fun list today because Fire Emblem is coming out with a new game, and with that I kind of wanted to rank the series because it is actually one of the series that I've played for so long, but I don't really talk about it much, which is kind of weird because it is actually one of my favorite strategy RPG games of all time. So I really wanted to focus on all the games that I've played. Now, usually I talk about the games that I never played, but there's some that were never released in America, and obviously those games I did not play, so I put those in right away as not released in the US. Now I could be wrong and these games did come out in the US, but I don't think so. This was before my time anyway in terms of playing these games. These were on like Super Nintendo and things like that, so I didn't play these games. I don't know if you guys did. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. But these games, I believe, were not released in the US. I'm going to start off the list with Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade, or in America, it was just Fire Emblem, because this was like the first major game in the United States for this series. And it is fantastic. This is old school Game Boy Advance, or maybe even just Game Boy, but I'm pretty sure it's Game Boy Advance. And it has this really great 2D grid type feel to it. It's very much strategy RPG. You move your units on the field. You do massive attack if you get them from behind. And what's really cool about this game is it did like the whole 2D like fighting, like one-on-one. It just looked so good. Thanks to things like Advance Wars being such a hit in the United States, I think that's why Nintendo brought this over, and I am so glad they did because this game is pretty much like a major staple of my childhood. I must have put, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 hours into this game, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, Fire Emblem is, in my opinion, the game that, thank God it came out in America, because it really pushed it to get all these other games released. So saying that, I'm going to put it in Masterpiece because when it came out, it was fantastic. And I think it would still hold up because it's that traditional strategy RPG gameplay. Now, I haven't played it in years, so if you have, let me know if it still holds up. But just going based off of my memory and how much I loved this game when I was a kid, I'm going to have to put it that high. So the next game on this list is Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones. Now, this game I do fondly remember as well. Now, this was something a little bit different. This had two branching storylines. Again, it has been so long since I played this, but the big difference between the first Fire Emblem and this one that I played was that it had two different storylines, which is really cool. I did remember one thing that kind of was dissatisfying when I was a kid is it was easy, or easier, I would say, than the last one, but I could be wrong. Now, as an adult, I appreciate easy modes, because it's a lot of work to do all this shit with a 3-year-old. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, I remember really enjoying this game and liking it. I do remember not loving it as much as the original. And maybe that's because I just couldn't get into it as much because it didn't have that difficulty spike. And when I was a kid, I loved hard games because they lasted longer. Masochist, what can I tell you? It's part of my fetishes. But yeah, I'm going to put Fire Emblem The Sacred Stone over in pretty dang good. I remember enjoying it. I remember liking it. I just don't remember loving it. Now, moving over to the console gameplay is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Now, this game was my GameCube game. Like, if there was any game that I played on GameCube as much as this, I'd find it hard-pressed to remember. I mean, I did play Resident Evil 4 like 17 times, but I really, really enjoyed this game. This was really good because of a different reason. See, I played Fire Emblem on the Game Boy and the follow-up, and I enjoyed it for the gameplay. I was really sucked into the gameplay. The stories were, from what I remember, pretty good, but it was the gameplay. This, while it had solid gameplay, of course, and it was more of the 3D realm, which is really cool, it was the story that I was really, really invested in. This story really, for the first time for Fire Emblem for me, really got me invested in the characters, the cast, and the story. So I love that part of this game. Now, of course, this was when I was a kid, and I've changed my taste, so maybe that would change now if I ever got a chance to replay it. And I kind of really do want to replay this game because I have very fond memories of it. Saying that, I don't think I played it nearly as much as I played the original, and I do think, though, it was better than the follow-up on the Game Boy Advance from what I remember. So it's kind of in between the two. So I'm going to put it in pretty dang good, but the highest we can go in pretty dang good from what I can remember, since it has been many years. Next up is Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, and this had Marth in it, which is absolutely one of my favorite characters in Super Smash Bros., but I don't remember loving this game. I don't remember it being bad. I don't remember wanting to return it. I don't remember not playing it too much, but I do remember just kind of not really loving my whole time playing this. And I think it was just because it was really bare bones. I'm pretty sure this is a remake, But yeah, it just didn't really capture me the same way the other games in this franchise did. Saying that, I do remember it being decent, and you know, I do remember the difficulty still being a challenge, which is kind of the main staple for Fire Emblem games. You kind of need that to really get into this series, as when your characters are on the verge of dying, you don't want to lose, and I love that type of stuff. So, saying that, I think Shadow Dragon is a solid entry, but I can't remember it being great or even that good. I put it in decent. It was a decent time. Blip. Okay, so I could be wrong if I played this game, but I don't remember this game. Did this come out in the United States? I mean, it's in Japanese. Or is this just Shadow Dragon, just a Japanese version? I don't know. This one, you guys can definitely throw a rock at me for I don't remember this game, or if I played it, it's just not registering my game encyclopedia in my head. Ooh. Yeah, this game I can't remember, so I'm just gonna put it in never played. I could be wrong and have played it, but I'm gonna be safe and put it in never played. So I remember when Radiant Dawn came out. This is the Wii one, I believe, and this was like the big one where people were like really like hating it, and then some people absolutely saying this is the best one ever at the time, and I was kind of like in between. So if you didn't know, when they put the game out, there was normal, hard, and super hard, and in America it was easy, normal, hard. So you could imagine when people picked normal and it was hard, people were a little pissed off if this was like their first Fire Emblem, because it was hard. And this was a direct sequel to the last one, which I really do enjoy, Path, and I thought that it could have just ended there, the story. I don't think this one had the greatest story. Saying that, I did like the gameplay. It was a cool idea to switch between different like perspectives in the battle and stuff, or in the story. I thought that was really fun. I thought it basically was a lot like Path, but it didn't do enough that I felt like it was trying a whole new thing, and that comes in the next game. But this game, I still really enjoy for what it was. I think it's better than decent. I would even put it in pretty dang good, but I'm going to put it on the lower end of pretty dang good, with Radiant Dawn going a little bit behind the Sacred Stones. Alright guys, and we come to the game that is kind of a weird one. So whenever something becomes popular, obviously there's fans that don't like the direction a franchise or series is going, and that's perfectly fine. With Awakening, it tried a lot of new things. It actually had a pretty heavy focus on support system and story, and kind of, you know, personify the series. So you talk a lot to characters, you can even get married, you can have children who come back from the future into the past to help you create units. Things like that are really interesting and unique for the series. And again, it kind of did what I believe Sacred Stone, with the paths going different ways. There was that in this as well. So it is considered to a lot of people the best, and it is absolutely one of my favorite games. This is the game where I put 150 hours and had to tell myself, James, beat the fucking game. I think I was just loving the fact of just talking to every possible buddy, and I did beat the game, but I just didn't want it to end. This was one of those like perfect handheld games that I just wanted to play over and over for hours and hours. I never got bored. Awakening is that game, and to some people, it is the best in the series. To me, I'm going to have to say it is very high up there, if not my favorite. It is tied with the original Fire Emblem for what it did for me, and that is to make me enjoy hours upon hours of gameplay. But for what it did to the franchise, I also have to give it credit. Now, if you didn't know, Fire Emblem wasn't doing amazing in sales, and this game pretty much saved the franchise, made it a big blockbuster. Well, not blockbuster, not even the best-selling game in the series from what I understand, but it did help make the game grow and keep the audience and new audience with the new support system. So for that alone, plus how much I enjoyed it and how many hours I put into this game and made me kind of interested in Fire Emblem once more, it's high up there. I'm going to put it in Masterpiece because I do think it is deserving of that spot, and I'm going to just put it like right next to the original. I think these two are the most important games in the franchise in terms of the importance of them. But saying that, I think I liked Awakening a little bit more. I know some of you fans are going to be like, you son of a bitch. But these games, I'm talking, these are 9.5s out of 10 for me. These are great games. I know Masterpiece is probably not the best word because it's like perfect, but it is high up there. These are some of my favorite games of all time. Definitely top 10 strategy games of all time. And so with the success of the Awakening, they had to go even bigger, make a different version of each game because, hey, let's sell them, right? And out came Fate's Birthright and Conquest. And you know what? These games were good for me. I know some people really don't like these games, and let me just tell you right now, the story is fucking dumb. But saying that, the gameplay is so damn good. The gameplay is basically what I love about Fire Emblem, and you got 3 games worth of it. Now, I will say that I did not complete Conquest because I played all the way through Birthright, and I played some Conquest. I'm like, I'm not gonna play this all again. Now, it's cool that it's different branches, but I think it was too much Fire Emblem. Like, the reason I played Awakening and things like that for that many hours is because it was one singular game, and this, they give you 2 versions. It's like Red and Blue. I never played both Pokemon games. There was just not a point. Like, I played them, maybe played both versions, but I never beat both at the same time, and that's what this game basically wants you to do to get the full story. And then Revelations is pretty much that other path, it didn't do much. Now, there's some really cool things that they kept from Awakening, like the support system that worked really well, and you can even marry your brother and sister. What's up, Alabama? But yeah, these games are pretty good. I did not dislike them. Now, would I say that they're the best in the series? No. I will say that. The story... Jesus. But I will say that I enjoyed my time with it, so I'm going to put all 3 of them in pretty dang good. I'm going to put it in front of Radiant Dawn because I did enjoy Birthright more than Radiant Dawn, but Conquest and Revelations, I'm going to be honest, I did not complete them, so I can't put them higher than Radiant. So out of all the games for Fire Emblem, I think this is the one that I least remember playing, the Fire Emblem Echoes. I don't recall, I think it was a remake, or a love letter, or whatever you want to call it, but I just don't remember really playing this one that much. I do remember one thing I liked about this game that I'm glad they did, where you can like redo a moment or a play instead of redoing the whole chapter, but I just don't remember really this game that much. It's just kind of one of those games that just like left my mind. I'm gonna put it in decent because I don't remember hating it. I don't think it was a bad game, but yeah, it was just kind of just there. So yeah, Fire Emblem Echoes, you're just gonna go in decent. I'm pretty sure Shadow Dragon's better than you. All right, so we have Fire Emblem, the 3 Houses, and I love this game, man. This game was something else. This game came out, and there were some people that are like, there's too much talking, and I agree with you. There is way too much talking in it. But what was really good about this game is that when they say there are 3 separate stories, they are 3 very separate, very different stories. And that I appreciated. So when I beat this game originally, I chose one character or one house, and I really enjoyed interacting with all the different characters and doing that story. That was great. But what was so cool next was that I did 1 months later, and it was totally different story. And for that, I appreciate it. It made the replay value super high. Now, it's not that these other games in the series didn't have breaching storylines, but this one felt the most fully used in terms of doing different paths for the storyline. Also is the prettiest looking game by far, with some really cool animations and fights in the one-on-ones or when you have multiple units. So yeah, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I believe, I could be wrong, is the best selling in the franchise, and for good reason. It is that good. Now, I did not play the DLC pass, so I'm just going to conclude that with Fire Emblem 3 Houses, or you know, I'll just put the expansion and never played. But let's talk about the 3 Houses and where it belongs. This is the 3rd masterpiece to me. This is the one that really, I think, was the gateway again for a new generation. So these games come out, and every once in a while they have a game that is a gateway to a new generation, whereas I think Fire Emblem, the original for Game Boy Advance, was a gateway for someone like me at my age, as a young age. And I think Awakening was another gateway to people for the 3DS years later. I think 3 Houses is a gateway again for a new audience, while also, you know, making sure that the old audience really enjoys these games. And if you like the support system of Awakening and Fates and stuff, this game just does that even better. So saying that, enough of me blabbing. 3 Houses, baby, you're going in the masterpiece. And I'm going to put you right behind the original Fire Emblem because that game just, it's like a childhood staple to me. But Fire Emblem 3 Houses is very high up there. I think I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it is an amazing game. All right, so we're on to Fire Emblem Warriors. Fuck, this game was bad. I really wanted to enjoy this game, but it was basically just like every you know, Dynasty Warriors just clone. It, you know, it just didn't do anything. It felt so lifeless, this game. That was my major issue. So I like the Mushu games. I love Dynasty Warrior, well, some of them, and I really enjoyed the One Piece ones. I even enjoyed recently another one I'm about to talk about, but this one did not enjoy. This felt like basically a cash grab after the big names of Fire Emblem getting, you know, fame from Awakening and Fates and then the Three Houses. This game kind of came out and just wanted to sell, and it was an easy combat system. I did not like this game. This was not for me. I think this is one of the only bad Fire Emblem games, and the one I don't recommend to anyone, including fans. I don't think it's like the worst game ever, but it's a bad Fire Emblem game. And that's saying a lot, because Fire Emblem is one of, obviously, as you can see, one of the most consistently well-crafted games. So for me to say it's a bad game, it is a bad game in this franchise. So, Fire Emblem Warriors, you were going in the bad section. Blah, poopy. Alright, and so Fire Emblem Warriors Three Houses, this is the, I guess you could say, sequel to Three Houses. And you know what? I was really on the fence of this game. I was like, I don't want to play this game. I've played Warriors. It sucked. This is going to suck. You're going to ruin it. You're going to ruin Three Houses. I put it in my Switch. I rented it from GameFly. Yeah, GameFly's still here, people. Come on, man. That saves you a lot of money, man. I don't buy games no more. Fuck that. Just kidding. I just bought Midnight Suns. Excellent game, by the way. But yeah, this game was so below my radar, so under after Warriors. I just didn't have any hope for it. And I really enjoyed this game. This one really surprised me. Now, I will say I did have one big problem with this game, is that I feel like the gameplay of Fire Emblem lasts a lot longer than a Mushu game. A Mushu game can only last so long where you just get bored eventually. And this game does get a little bit boring in the gameplay. I will say that it strived to make enough of the combat differences and different classes and stuff to keep it fresh, and it was fun. I played this almost 60 hours, so it did capture my attention for a long time for that style of gameplay. However, at the 60-hour mark, I was just like, nah, I don't know how much more I could just click the fucking X button and do like minimal combos over and over again with big groups of enemies. Saying that, it did have some strategy elements while you're playing, like moving units around, stuff I really liked. Also, the gameplay, or the, you know, the support system or the RPG system of talking to people was there, and you could build relationships. So I really enjoyed all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. Now, I wish that they had a little bit more in depth, like, you know, like Three Houses or Awakening and so on, or Fates, but it still did a pretty good job. So overall, I think this is one of the most surprising in the series for me, because I absolutely thought it was going to be poo-poo and a doo-poo, but it was not. So saying that, we're going to put Fire Emblem Warriors Three Houses in pretty dang good. And you know what? I'm going to put it right next to Birthright. Those are about even for me, where I know that they both have problems, but I just enjoy them so much. Alright, so Fire Emblem Heroes, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, this is the cell phone game, and surprisingly, I played this game for a good month and a half before just getting bored of it, but it was a pretty good cell phone game. I'm going to put it in decent. I'm not going to talk much about it. It's a mobile Fire Emblem game, and it works relatively well for what it's trying to accomplish, but it doesn't have, you know, the in-depth strategy that the later games have. The maps are very, very small, which is kind of the biggest factor of not making it great, but a decent time if you want some Fire Emblem on the go, and that's going in the decent section. And the last one but not least is this is a Tokyo Sessions FE. Now, I only played the first couple hours of this game, and I liked it, but what happened, I got so pissed, man. This is a story. I don't want to get too deep into it. So basically what happened, I bought the game, and then I didn't play it for months, and, you know, it was used. That was my fault. I popped it in my system, I was enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, about the 3-hour mark, it just did the error message on my fucking Switch. I was like, what is this? And so, I was like, I'll try it again later. And then it never worked. It just never worked. What the fuck? GameStop, bitch ass. But yeah, I can't really comment on it much, but from what I played, I was having a good time. It definitely had more of the Persona Shin Megami feel to it than Fire Emblem, but it had all my favorite characters looking 3D and fucking cool, so that was really cool. It's a shame I didn't get to play this more. If you guys have, please let me know what you end up thinking of this game. But for me, I still enjoyed it, what I played, and I'm going to put it in the decent, and I'll put it actually above Echoes, because I remember more than Echoes. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in front of Shadow Dragon. I just enjoyed it. It was a good time. I wish I could put it in, you know, pretty dang good, but I don't think I played it enough to put it in there, and that sucks. And so that's my list for Fire Emblem. Now, the new one's about to come out at the time of my recording. I'm going to put this up relatively close to the release of that. But I am very, very excited for this game. Now, the guy's hair looks absolutely insane and weird as hell. And I am all here for it. I love that weirdness. Give me more of it for Fire Emblem. But as you can see, this series is absolutely a knockout. I think this is one of the best crafted series, one of the longest running, and very few bad games. Actually, there's only one bad game. It's not even the main game of the series, so hey. Now, what are your guys' opinion? Now, these games are, you know, different for everybody. Everybody has what clicks with them, what doesn't click. I know some people absolutely love the originals, hate the new way they're going with Awakening and, you know, Three Houses with the support system and more talking. But for me, I really enjoy... Oh, I just noticed you guys can't even see the top of the games. I am sorry. Let me see if I can move my... Put me down here. And, yeah, I gotta say, I am really, really excited for the new one. I hope it's as good as I enjoyed Three Houses, but I have a feeling even if I don't enjoy as much as Three Houses, I'm going to enjoy it as much as, you know, all the other ones like Conquest or Birthright, and those are not bad games. Those are pretty good times. Look, anything and pretty dang good, I'm talking about 7.5 to 8.5, my people. That, to me, is a good game worth playing. Even a decent, I'd give a 7 or a 6.5. These are still games that I enjoyed enough that I remember, or at least somewhat remember, but I just didn't love them. So yeah, anyway, stop babbling. Stop babbling, James. I enjoy a lot of Fire Emblem. I'm super excited for the new one. What do you guys think? What's your favorite Fire Emblem? What's your least favorite? What would be your top 3? Or if you want to rank them all like I did, go ahead. If you played the ones that weren't released in the United States and want to, go for it. I don't even know the names of half of them. I'm all for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And let's go check out that new Fire Emblem. I'm very, very excited.